Tata Harrier and Safari have been around for quite some time. To be precise, the Harrier is soon going to complete 7 years, while the Safari is almost 4 years old. In all these years, both these SUVs have only been offered with the diesel engine option, derived from the Fiat Multijet unit. Despite being offered with only a diesel engine option, cumulative sales of Harrier and Safari has crossed the 2.5 lakh mark. This is a good number, but when you look at rival XUV 700, whose sales have crossed the 3 lakh mark in just 4 years, the sales of Harrier and Safari don't look that good anymore. Tata Motors knew that one of the biggest reasons the Harrier and Safari are losing in sales to the XUV 700 is the lack of a petrol engine. They have finally addressed that, meet the first ever Harrier with a petrol engine. Let's start with the key. This is how it looks. It has 4 functions: lock, unlock, headlight and tailgate opening. Taking a look at the exteriors, design of the petrol Harrier remains same as the diesel Harrier. It gets the same connected LED TRL, Tata Motors logo, grille, LED headlamps, cornering lamps with fog lights, same alloys, and in fact, it will be difficult to differentiate between the petrol Harrier and the diesel Harrier on the road because there is no such branding either on the side or at the rear. What will help you differentiate, at least for now, is this new color option. This is the crimson red, which is only on offer with the petrol variant of the Harrier as of now. One of the few feature upgrades that the Harrier Petrol has over the Harrier Diesel is this front camera with a washer. It gets activated when you turn on the windshield wipers. The rear camera also gets a washer functionality like the front. These are interesting features to have when you're driving through bad, dirty roads. Another feature upgrade that is exclusive to the Harrier Petrol for now is this: a camera that is neatly integrated into the shark fin antenna. The live feed from this camera is sent into the digital IRVM on the inside. It also acts as the rear dash cam. This is how the new 1.5-litre Hyperion turbo petrol engine sounds. There's a decent amount of grunt, while the refinement level could have been better. From inside the cabin, you can hear the engine at idle, but it's not an unpleasant sound. In fact, there's a slight aggressive tone to it, which actually feels nice. And this is how the exhaust note sounds. It has a nice bassy note with a hint of sporty aggression. From the looks of it, the underbody finishing could have been better. On the inside, Harrier Petrol gets a dual tone finish of brown and oyster white. The brown part here is hard plastic while the white is a little soft. The seats are ventilated, get powered, 3-step memory function. The 4-spoke steering wheel comes with a dual tone finish of black and white, which is a bit surprising as you'd have thought it to get same finish of brown and white which is seen across the cabin. The Harrier Petrol now comes with a big 14.5-inch QLED touchscreen from Samsung, the same one used in the Harrier EV. It's bright, it's smooth to use, and touch response is quick. Most importantly, the visibility is excellent, even during daytime driving. It has pretty much everything you would expect: wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, built-in navigation, an air purifier, and from the AQI reading, you can probably guess the city we are in. You also get mood lighting, games, Alexa integration, and a 10-speaker JBL audio system with Dolby Atmos that delivers excellent sound quality. Here you have touch controls for the AC, hazard lights, boot release, door lock and unlock, and the 360-degree camera. Fan speed is controlled from here, while the dual zone temperature gets physical toggle controls, which is nice for ease of use while driving. Here you have a USB-A port along with a 65-watt Type-C fast charging port and a wireless charger. This is the rotary terrain mode selector along with buttons for hill descent control, sport mode, and eco mode. Next to the gear lever, you have the electronic parking brake and the auto hold function. Another update you get with the petrol Harrier is this digital IRVM, which we first saw on the Harrier EV. It can show you both front and rear camera feed from the one which is mounted on the shark fin antenna. It also works like a built-in dash cam, which is actually quite useful. You can take photos, zoom in up to 1.2x, adjust the brightness, set loop recording duration, and even turn the mic off so it doesn't record the cabin audio. It's a practical feature that adds both convenience and safety. Despite the tech it comes with, I would still prefer the regular auto-dimming IRVM over this. Reason being, the camera feed quality is not that great, and sometimes the reflection from this IRVM hinders in the view. I can see the reflection more than the object at the rear. Honestly, there were moments when it actually felt better to drive with it turned off. Under the bonnet, you get a 1.5-litre Hyperion turbo petrol engine. This is the same unit which was first launched in the Sierra. But for the Harrier and Safari, Tata Motors has tuned it little differently. It now delivers more power and more torque of 170 PS and 280 Newton meters. You also get the option of a 6-speed manual transmission along with the 6-speed ISIN automatic torque converter. So, why did Tata Motors take this long to launch a petrol option with the Harrier and Safari? Well, as per them, when they launched the Harrier first in 2019, the demand for petrol SUVs in this segment was negligible. Fast forward to 2025, there is now a growing segment of buyers who prefer petrol-powered SUVs over the traditional diesel SUVs in this segment, and hence, Tata Motors thinks this is now the right time to offer petrol engine with the Harrier and Safari. Let's answer the big question straight away. Does the Harrier Petrol feel underpowered? The simple answer is no. This 1.5-litre turbo petrol actually feels surprisingly strong and delivers more than enough performance for everyday driving and highway runs. Before driving it, I honestly felt this engine might be underpowered for a SUV of this size and weight. But once you start driving, that concern just goes away. The Harrier Petrol does not feel underpowered at all. Throttle response is tuned more on the relaxed side. And yes, there is a bit of a turbo lag. Gear shifts are really smooth thanks to the new 6-speed torque converter from ISIN. Most of the time you barely even notice the shifts because they are quick and seamless. And if you want to have a little more fun, you also get pedal shifters. Talking about acceleration, 0 to 60 comes up in roughly 5 seconds and you hit 100 km/h in about 10 seconds, which is quite impressive for an SUV of this size. Braking performance is decent as well. All 4 disc brakes do a good job of bringing the SUV to a halt. That said, at triple-digit speeds, you do wish there was a bit more of a bite from the brakes. Here's us doing a brake test from 80 km/h. We did push the Harrier Petrol at higher speeds and stability is genuinely impressive. In fact, at the Natrax test track near Indore, Tata Motors has achieved a top speed of 216 km/h. Thanks to the Land Rover derived platform underneath, the ride quality is really good, especially on bad roads. You can just glide over broken surfaces without having to slow down. It honestly feels like the Harrier can take a lot of abuse, and it does it with ease. The suspension is set on the softer side, which works really well for our road conditions, and it keeps the ride comfortable. But the flip side is that when you start attacking corners, you do notice body roll, and it's quite evident, especially for rear seat passengers. Driving through traffic in this big SUV is not difficult. You get good visibility through the windshield and the side glass. Yes, the A-pillars and ORVMs do block a bit of a view at times, but that's where the 360-degree camera really helps. The surround view camera quality is very good. It switches on instantly at the press of a button and makes maneuvering through tight spaces much easier. The steering is light and easy, which is a big plus while driving in city traffic. It doesn't offer a lot of feedback, but as speeds go up, it does weigh in nicely. That added weight gives you good confidence and stability on the highway. NVH levels are decent overall. At triple-digit speeds, you do start hearing some road and wind noise inside the cabin, but it's nothing that feels excessive or disturbing. One issue we faced a couple of times was with the gear not getting slotted properly. As you can see here, while getting out of the parking, I shift to drive, but it doesn't engage and the car stays in reverse. I had to shift it once again for it to finally go into drive. This happened a few more times, and after that, I found myself double checking every time just to be sure the gear had actually slotted in. Talking about shifting gears, the moment you slot the car into reverse, the ORVMs automatically tilt downwards. This gives you a much better view of the angle you need while reversing, especially helpful in tight parking spots. In terms of safety, both Harrier and Safari Petrol are loaded with features, as we have come to expect from Tata Motors. These two cars have also been crash tested by Bharat NCAP, and they have got a 5-star safety rating, making them one of the safest SUVs in this segment. Surprisingly, we did face an issue with the ADAS while driving early in the morning through thick fog. Features like adaptive cruise control, intelligent speed assist, and lane centering assist stopped working, with a warning saying system failure, contact service center. Even traffic sign recognition showed a message saying the system was temporarily unavailable due to camera blockage. As you can see on the display, all the affected ADAS features turn amber. Because of the thick fog, driving conditions on the Delhi-Jaipur expressway were already quite risky, and the last thing you want in such a situation is to see ADAS features not working. The good part is, once the fog reduced, all the systems came back on their own and started working normally again. Later in the day, when we spoke to Tata Motors officials about this, they explained that the system actually switched itself off on purpose because of the heavy fog. They explained that for ADAS to work properly, the camera needs clear visibility. Since it can't rely only on radar feedback, the system disables itself when the camera view is blocked. Another small safety issue we noticed was with the rear left seat belt. When my colleague sat at the back, the seat belt just wouldn't lock in properly. He tried to wear it multiple times, but it would just not get locked. These are minor niggles, but definitely something Tata should look into. Fuel efficiency is a big concern for petrol SUV buyers. Tata Motors says they have addressed this with the new petrol Harrier and Safari and claim best in segment fuel efficiency. However, at the time of our drive, the official ARAI figures were still not revealed. We drove the Harrier Petrol for around 120 kilometers. And the fuel efficiency shown on the display was 8 kilometers per liter. Tata Motors has locked the system so it doesn't show figures below 8 kilometers per liter, which makes it a bit difficult to know the exact mileage we were getting from this new engine. Another thing that stood out was the panel gaps on dashboard. They are quite uneven. As you can see here, on the right side of the dashboard, the gap is big enough to actually put a finger in. But on the left side, it looks perfectly fine, which is how it should have been on both sides. It's a small detail, but at this price point, fit and finish should be more consistent. So, to wrap up our first drive of the Tata Harrier Petrol, should you consider buying it? Absolutely yes. If you are in the market for a petrol-powered SUV in this segment, the Harrier Petrol definitely deserves to be on your shortlist. Apart from a few niggles here and there, it looks great, it drives well, and overall it feels like a solid, well-rounded package. That is all we have to say about the new Harrier Petrol from its first drive here in New Delhi. We hope you liked the video. Thank you for watching.